Shalom. Shalom and welcome. I say to you, Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to those of you who acknowledge that Shabbat is still in play or in session. Welcome to End Time Unity Protocols. This is the 45th installment. As I begin to wrap up this series, there will be 3 other recordings on this series. Before I introduce myself personally to you, vis-a-vis video going forward in the new transition for this channel and other things that I present. My name is Symmanayah. If you're tuning in for the first time, know this: we have entered into end times. There will be 144,000 Hebrews, Abraham, and there will be a great multitude consisting of Gentiles as well as Hebrews, Abraham. The 144,000 will represent 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes mentioned in Revelation 7th chapter. With that said, there is work to be done. There are processes and details that will occur. In this installment, this 45th installment, I am compelled to inform set-apart Yasharal the need to recognize that we are indeed custodians and tenants of these earthen bodies our spirit resides in. Let me present the case why it is important for us to begin to realize we will be held accountable, that we are responsible for managing these earthen vessels. With that said, come and allow me to present the words that I am compelled to deliver. Romans 12:1 and 2 says, I call upon you, therefore, brothers, through the compassion of the Almighty One, to present your bodies a living offering, set apart, well-pleasing to the Almighty One, your reasonable worship. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you prove what is good and well-pleasing and perfect desire of the Almighty One. My brothers and sisters, we are the house of the Almighty Father Yahuah. Let me read Acts 17:24. Yahuah, who made the world and all that is in it, this one being master of heaven and earth, does not dwell in dwellings made with hands. My brothers and sisters, he dwells within us. And if you doubt that, consider 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20. It reads, or do you not know that your body is the dwelling place of the set-apart Spirit who is in you, which you have from the Almighty One, and you are not your own? For you were bought with a price. Therefore esteem the Almighty One in your body and in your spirit, which are of the Almighty One. That was 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20. Many people might be quick to dismiss that the Spirit of Yahuah and Yahusha's name is in us. When we stumble and fall, they see the dirty part of the house. They see the part that requires the discipline from the Almighty Father. You see, if we are indeed his children, which I am referencing those who are indeed drawn by him, then he disciplines us. So let us not be quick to say that person is not saved or that person is not your brother or sister. If he or she is drawn by the Almighty Father to Yahusha Mashiach, if he or she seeks to do the will of the Almighty Father, yes, the flesh war against the spirit, so we'll stumble and fall. There are times to come away from such individuals. There's time to restore such an individual into set apartness. So let us seek to discern, so that when we judge righteously as we are led by the Spirit of Yahusha, our teacher, our guide. In the name of Yahusha, I say to you, O listener, we are custodians and tenants of these bodies. We must begin to wholeheartedly pursue what is necessary to demonstrate that we are responsible citizens among the set-apart nation of Yasharal. 1 Peter 4:17 say, because it is time for judgment to begin from the house of the Almighty One. And if firstly from us, what is the end of those who do not obey the good news of the Almighty One? My brother, my sister, there are 2 forces battling within the body of Yasharal currently. One is set apart, led individuals who are obedient, who are moving in a way to restore into fellowship, or to restore and bring correction and reproof as they are led by the Spirit of Yahuah within a body that is dysfunctional, or within a body that may have stumbled or fall. Another force within that same body are wicked ones who just seek to set apart and who seek to fragment and divide wickedly. The set apart ones of the Almighty Father. Two forces. So when you hear people saying we're fighting within our own nation, yes, we're fighting, because judgment begins at the house of Yahuah. And as judgment begins, there's the wicked one who want to cloud the judgment statements, the actions that bring about a call to reproof and correctness. So those two forces are functioning. And as we begin to learn how to come away when we're supposed to come away, how to purge when we're supposed to purge, until we understand fully when to come away or when to purge, until we recognize that it is necessary for us to not yield to compromising actions, behaviors, teachers, and doctrines, till we realize that, my brothers and sisters, it will seem like there is such havoc going on. But trust the words of the Almighty Father, for Hebrews 12th chapter and Revelation 3:19 speaks of his discipline, a promised event, a promised set of actions that will occur, that will make those who must and will fulfill end time prophecies better. A more perfect you, a more perfect me, a more perfect set apart nation, as we are led, as we are disciplined, as we are refined by the Spirit of the Almighty Father, sent in Yahusha's name, working in us and through us one towards another. His words will do what they are set out to do, as mentioned in Isaiah 55, 10 and 11. My brothers and sisters, with the mix of all the noise and confusion among us, a set-apart nation will rise, the 144,000 in great multitude, set apart by the Spirit of the Almighty Father in Yahusha's name, will emerge. Let me read the following, my brothers and sisters. Ecclesiastes 12, 6 and 7. Ecclesiastes 12 chapter, verse 6 and 7. It say, remember him before the silver cord is loose, or the golden bowl is broken, or the jar shattered at the fountain, or the wheel broken at the wheel. And the dust returns to the earth as it was, and the spirit returns to the Almighty One who gave it. My brothers and sisters, when the Spirit returns to the Almighty One, it's that place that he has established for us to rest into resurrection. This is not saying it goes to heaven. Like people say, oh, when you die, you go to heaven. No. There's a resting place until the resurrection time comes. My brothers and sisters, we are custodians of this earthen vessel that will return to the dust. And we have a responsibility, and we will be held accountable for how we manage this vessel. And the best and most wisest way is to learn and be mindful and pray without ceasing. Pray without ceasing, meaning, my brothers and sisters, being in constant communication. You see, prayer is not a one-way street, so to speak. It is not a one-way method of communication. Praying without ceasing, my brothers and sisters, as it is stated in 1 Thessalonians 5:17, it is communication, seeking to discern what the Spirit of Yahusha is saying to us, as well as we speak to him. Let me also read 1 Peter 1:22 through 25. 1 Peter 1:22 through 25. It reads, now that you have cleansed your lives in obeying the truth through the Spirit, to unfeigned brotherly love, love one another fervently with a clean heart, having been born again, not of the corruptible seed, but incorruptible, through the living word of the Almighty One, which remains forever. Because all flesh is as grass, and all the esteem of man is as the flower of the grass. The grass withers, and its flowers fall away, but the word of the Almighty One remains forever. My brothers and sisters, our spirit, joined with the Almighty Father, being set apart by his word, we will remain forever with him. There is much more ahead of us than behind us. Let us be mindful of such. 2 Corinthians 4:16 says, therefore we do not lose heart, but even if our outward man is perishing, the inward man is being renewed day by day. My brothers and sisters, let me ask you, do you think it is wise to keep a clean house? Can you agree that a clean house is oftentimes organized to some extent? If you were to live next door to someone who has a nasty house where pestilent rodents, cockroaches, and other types of insects, would that have an effect on how you interact with that neighbor? How would you feel if the things I just mentioned began infiltrating your house, apartment, trailer, tent, and/or dwelling place that you call home? You see, my brothers and sisters, we are custodians and tenants to this house. We have an obligation to take care of it. The Most High will grant us and have granted us favor in more ways than many. One definition of custodian is a person who has the responsibility for or looks after something. Another definition of custodian is a person who has custody, keeper, guardian. Are we guardian of Torah? Are we guardian of the ways of set apartness by the Almighty Father Yahuah? Are we guardian of those who are among the set apart nation of Yasharal? Another definition of custodian is a person vested with the responsibility to provide care in or maintenance for something such as a building, museum, financial assets, or a person who is hired to clean and maintain a building. You see, my brothers and sisters, there are the literals and there are the spirituals. Let us seek to discern with precision what these have related to what we are called to do. One definition of a tenant is a person who occupies land or property rented from a landlord. Another definition of a tenant could be words as a person or group that rents and occupies land, a house, or office, or the like from another for a period of time. A lessee, my brothers and sisters, you see, the time will come when these houses, eviction time comes, we'll be evicted out of these earthen vessels. Whether we want to say evicted or go back to the dust, the same function happens. Our spirit will no longer be in these dwelling places we call our body. My brothers and sisters, soon and very soon, our responsibilities will become crystal clear, and we will fulfill end-time tasks that are assigned to us by the Almighty Father. Make no mistake, the 144,000 Hebrews of Abarim, or should I say Abraham, I believe just recently, my brothers and sisters, well, not I believe, recently, my brothers and sisters, I am compelled to believe the Most High is leading me to say that the seed of Abraham, those who are descendants of Abraham, who seek to do the will of the Almighty Father, to pronounce them as Abraham. And we know that the word Goyim for Gentiles mean all other nations. But know this, just as there are wicked Hebrews, there are wicked Gentiles. There are set apart Hebrews, there are set apart Gentiles, or set apart Goyim. The 144,000 must fulfill what is written. So 12 nations, 12 nationalities must be recognized and identified, and will. And there will be a great multitude of many nations, kindreds, and tongues who seek to do the will of the Almighty Father. And know this, it doesn't mean we ignore race, my brothers and sisters. Race must be recognized. Nationality must be recognized in order to fulfill what is written. And upon that completion and fulfillment, we must not stop there. We must realize that beyond our race and nationality, we have been made one in spirit by Yahusha Mashiach, by our desire to do the will of the Almighty Father, by his drawing power. So there are times when we must recognize and will recognize nationalities or race. But there will also be the time when we will recognize what is beyond these earthen vessels, and that is the spirit of Yahuah in us, through us, and our individual collective spirits that are made one by Yahusha Mashiach. Understanding and clarity will come. During these extreme humbling times, prepare to witness Yasharal, set apart Yasharal, those who seek to do the will of the Almighty Father. who have been chosen as custodians, as tenants, to raise up and fulfill end time prophecies. My brothers and sisters, pray and watch, study, pray some more, for end times will bring the proof that is required to let us know that the realities of what has been promised are unfolding before our very eyes. Yasharal, oh Yasharal, the time is now to begin to grow into the position that awaits you. The time is now to discern what you are being trained to accomplish during these end times. There are processes and details. There are protocols laid out by those led by the Spirit of the Almighty Father Yahuah, sent in Yahusha's name. Be encouraged, my brother, my sister. Those who must and will represent the fulfillment of the gathering from the four corners of the earth, along with those who will be martyrs for Yahusha's name and more, will recognize that as custodians, we will learn how to yield and be set apart tenants, led by the Spirit of the Most High, responsible and accountable for the things that we do in these earthen vessels. Our final days are ahead of us. There will be some who will die, face physical death sooner than others. And there will be those among this end time generation that will witness the physical return of Yahusha Mashiach and be transformed. Pray, my brothers and sisters. Time will bring the proof that is necessary. What say you, O listener, to these words? Have you truly begun to recognize the living presence of the Spirit of Yahuah, sent in Yahusha's name? I say again, pray, study, pray some more, and seek to discern what the Spirit of Yahusha is saying. Rise up, fellow custodians, tenants of the set-apart house of Yahuah. Let us begin to press into what is being directed and begin to witness a coming together like never imagined. Until next time, I invite your communications, your questions, your comments, if and only if you believe you are being led to do so. I invite you to continue to witness the messages which I believe I am compelled to present. And as I stated, there will be 3 more audio recordings before I begin to do video recordings and introduce a transition into a new name for this channel. My name is Symmanayah, and these are the words I am compelled to present before an awakening nation. Until next time, be encouraged, my brothers. Our redemption indeed draws near. Until next time, I bid you, O listener, O set apart one, I bid you Shalum.